Hi, I'm Lisa with Lisa Boone Designs. Welcome to my channel. If you're new, I want to welcome you and I hope that you'll subscribe. Today, I'm painting over a Windsor style bench. I've already started and I want to bring you along the process. I'm going to be creating a custom colored stain using only DIY paint products. I'm doing something totally new that I've never done before and I'm excited about it because it's going to open up the door to so many more possibilities. I hope that you'll watch this video.
In order to transform this bench, I had to take off the varnish and the stain. So I always like to start off with my carbide scraper. As you can see, this piece had a ton of varnish. It literally looked like candle wax. There was so much varnish on this piece. And it was a little bit of trouble. It was a lot of work to get it off as much as I could. I just scraped it and scraped it and scraped it. It's winter, it's cold outside. It eliminates the amount of sanding that I have to do if I start off with the carbide scraper. And I want to be able to work indoors as much as possible. Finally had to take it outside. It was actually really cold. And I tried to sand it as quickly as I could. And then in between those spindles, I had to use my sanding sponge and work it with my hands. This is one of the parts that I really hate. I hate spindles as it is, and I hate painting chairs and stuff like that, but it always looks great when it's done. It's just really hard work, and it was really hard to get this area sanded down. I always have to take a little break and calm them down because they were upset that I wasn't paying attention to them.
I'm using the R16 Klingon brush and I'm using DIY Paint's Black Velvet. My client asked for a soft black and she sent me an inspiration picture. And so I'm trying to custom stain the bottom of this bench to match that picture. We'll see how close we get. Now to prep, I cleaned it. I even sanded down this because it was really slick. And I was just trying to, while I had my orbital sander out, I just went ahead and scuff sanded it.
If you follow me, you know all about DIY paint, but if you're new, I want to let you know that DIY paint is a clay-based chalk style paint. It will adhere to almost anything. You don't have to prime and you don't have to sand. If it's really slick, and because of the amount of varnish that this particular piece had, you can sand it down a little bit, just a scuff sand. Now, I want to go ahead and create a custom stain using only DIY paint products, and I didn't want to use dark and decrepit. I use that all the time. I have many tutorials showing how to stain furniture. It gives you like a walnut finish, but you can even take that a lot lighter. So here I'm taking Prairie Grey and DIY Paint's liquid patina. I usually use that for decoupaging, but you can actually use that as a glaze or a stain. And so you can make your own custom stain. And then I also added water and I stirred it up. You want it to be liquidy. And then I put a little bit of weathered wood in there because I wanted that brown gray color to come through. And I just played with it, and since I added more paint, I added a little bit more liquid patina. And so I put the paint on the bottom part just to see if it was going to look like my inspiration piece that my client sent me. And I think I did really well with it. So I always start, even though it's liquidy, I always like to start with water on my bare wood before I stain it. Now, I will tell you that it would have turned out great, but there was still some varnish and I didn't realize how much was still on there and it was uneven. So I had to sand it back down because I wasn't happy with it and start over. So here we are starting over. And so I go ahead and I sand it. I take my new stain that I created and I go ahead and I go for it. I don't know why I had such a hard time getting the stain and varnish off of this wood. There's still a little bit left on there. It just would not come off and it was too cold to strip it. So I created layers of stain, as you will see. I used the staining pad for the first time to see if I would like it, and it works really well. I'm applying it with my Klingon brush. Normally when I stain, I use a blue sponge applicator. Now it's time to paint the rest of the legs, and so I'm just using DIY Paints Black Velvet, and I like to turn my pieces upside down to make sure that I get the chairs or the spindles or the, you know, whatever's underneath painted really well. And it really is easier to go back and forth in this technique. It gets it done a lot faster, and I am using the round, which also helps to go around all of those curves. The round brush, I mean, by Klingon.
What happened, Mom?
Freaking everything. Oh, but that looks...
dropped the whole paintbrush.
I kind of like the way that black looks.
This is cool.
Sometimes, what did Bob Ross say? Happy little mistakes. Oh my gosh, I love this. Oh my god. See, because I used liquid patina, the bottom is sealed.
This definitely was a process. It took a life of its own, and it came out darker than with the inspiration piece, but I think it came out pretty cool.
I made another batch and I added just a drop of Dark and Decrepit. I put Prairie Grey, a little bit of weathered wood, and liquid patina. And I just need to brown this off and even it out. Let's see what happens.
I decided to take DIY Paint's Cottage color in white linen and just lighten up the paint stain that I created. DIY Paint's Cottage color has a built-in sealer, so I thought that might be a good thing to add on there and do it as a wash. And then I added just a little bit of black to it because it got too beige for me, and I just needed to tone it all down and bring it together, and this final layer did just that. So I applied it with my brush and then I wiped off the excess. Honestly, I nailed the first stain color that I created. It was exactly what the inspiration piece was, but because I couldn't get this piece sanded down well enough, I ended up creating a really interesting and layered stain, totally custom, and it worked. My client actually really liked it, and come to find out, she did have that shelf unit in her house, but she was really actually trying to match her floor, which was a little bit more gray and brown than the shelf unit. So it actually really worked in her house. I really love this transformation. A totally unique stain, totally elevated Windsor style bench. Not that generic white and pine look. It's totally custom and it really looks high end. Let me know in the comments what you think about this. And have you ever tried to make your own custom stain using DIY paint? Of course, I love using DIY paint because it's non-toxic, and I'm able to do this inside my house around all of my animals, and it doesn't make us sick. I love that fact about DIY paint. It is the most eco-friendly paint out there, and there's so much that you can do with it. I hope that you will give something like this a try. Let me know in the comments if you will try it, or if you have any questions, go ahead and ask me. I would love to help you on your journey of making things over in your house, or maybe you are a furniture flipper and you've never tried this technique and you want to try it. I would love to see your attempt at this. Hope that you'll subscribe to my channel. Now here's the before, and here is the after. Like, totally different. I love the way it turned out. I did seal it with Sweet Pickins Final Finish. It's a durable top coat, and I think it's something that's going to last her for a very, very long time. Again, I hope that you'll subscribe and let me know what you think about this transformation. I look forward to hearing from you, and I so appreciate your kindness and your support. I hope that you have an incredibly blessed day. Thank you so much.